Dance. Hi everyone, I'm Tristan Hernandez.
And I'm Gaelan B.
Today we're going to be talking about our short that is up on YouTube right now called Mondays.
So let's watch the short together, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about how we made it.
So that was Mondays. It was one of the first videos that we kind of did as a team, other than some other shorts that you will never see. Gaelan came up to me with a song, if you want to express a little bit.
Yeah, so the song was from Sondre Lerche from the movie Dan in Real Life. It's called The Family Waltz. And it's a trumpet and maybe guitar and piano.
Yep.
And it's a very classic waltz sound, but I just really enjoyed it, and it would get stuck in my head and it would loop on me. And so I came in and said, hey, I want to do a short about this, and I think I want it to be a day in someone's life. And like each little reverse or a verse is just another moment in that person's life. And then Tristan and Sarah were like, well, what if we did the opening sequence of a television show?
Yeah.
So the credit sequence of a television show to this tune. And from there, we ended up brainstorming into Mondays, which is the TV show where every day is Monday and it's never a good day.
Never a good day because no one likes Mondays. But the other concept that was really cool that we kind of worked with is kind of doing it like a music video, but not a music video. So structuring this whole entire opening title sequence, if you will, to a TV show, but formulating it to the things that are happening in the song instead of things that he's doing in life. So when he's walking down the path, like actually we timed out and we wrote it out in a script format the same way that you would a music video or a montage sequence, which I thought added a really cool element when we got to filming because we knew exactly the time measures throughout the song to actually just go, okay, this is how much we have to repeat the song while we're shooting this one section. Yeah. And this is how long you have to do this one section.
And it's a really good exercise too on distilling action. So knowing that we only had this 2-measure sequence in which to show someone brushing their teeth, knowing that we had only that long made us really go, okay, what's the important aspect of the action that we're trying to tell?
Yeah.
And trying to get that in that. Well, we were sitting on set singing the song to Mark Allan, who was doing the action.
Yeah, and then we realized, yeah, we should probably just play the song because we're not singing on time. But it was a really cool concept, especially for Mark. I mean, we would have to talk to Mark to actually see if he thought this was as cool as what we thought he was thinking.
Yeah.
But for the walking sequences, because he couldn't hear the music, so we would literally be like, and go, and stop. You gotta go faster. And go, and stop. That's slow. And go. And doing it over and over and over again to be like we literally had it like it was a waltz with the song, because the song is a waltz. It's literally called Family Waltz.
It's very musical, which was really fun.
Yeah, we didn't end up getting to use the song, but we'll talk about that in a second. Something that was really cool about this one for pre-production is, like I said before, we had to kind of write it like a montage sequence. And because we had the style of the song kind of gave off already a sadness.
For sure.
Which elevated what Mondays feels like for everybody. At least, I don't know. Yeah.
Mondays are hard.
For us. But it really added in the element of where to go and what to do in the actual shots. And one of the first concepts, and we stuck with it, was he goes on a trip to a coffee shop that he always goes, and he forgets his wallet. And that was one thing that
was really early.
That was really early. I think it was one of the first things that you said was like, he goes to do something and then he realizes that he forgets something, and that's his miserable day. And then he ends up going back home, and we do the reverse of every shot. And I automatically went, yeah, let's run with this. This is fantastic.
And then through writing the script and realizing that moment was important to us, that's how we came back to the moment of him pouring out coffee in his coffee machine at home and finding out he didn't have enough.
Yeah.
So that kind of stuff, what we really tried to do was make every little thing that happens on a bad day compounds and makes you feel worse and worse and worse. So we tried to find a bunch of little things. So like getting toothpaste on your face, running out of coffee, forgetting your stuff, having a stranger on the subway fall asleep on your shoulder, culminating with the bird pooping on just when you feel like you've gotten out of all the mess.
And you're looking at a beautiful sunrise.
Yeah.
And
watching the planes take
shits
off.
On you.
And the bird shits.
Mondays, am I right?
But it was an interesting, again, exercise for me because there's no dialogue.
Yeah.
So we're writing a script, but there's no dialogue in the script.
Yeah.
Which is a really fun exercise to do.
And how do we relay the feeling of a character to an audience through just music and through just acting is a beautiful thing to do. Kind of going off of what Gaelan just said is we really hit on the formula that Matt Stone and Trey Parker do for South Park, which is instead of and then something happens, we go, and therefore this must happen. So he wakes up in the morning, he brushes his teeth, he goes and, oh, he's out of coffee. Therefore, he must go get coffee. Goes on to the thing.
I remember that because he walked to the coffee shop and he was probably going to continue to walk wherever he was going, but because he forgot his wallet, therefore he had to go home.
Yeah.
Because he did that, therefore he had to take transit to where he was going. So because he couldn't walk anymore because he was out of time.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So it was that thing of layering instead of expanding. You never want to have a full run-on sentence. You want to have the formula, so you have the buts and the therefores. You never want to add ands. And it's a really cool thing, especially in a montage format, to add that in when there's no dialogue.
Yeah.
So you have to really relay it through action, which I think we did a pretty good job.
Yeah.
Other than the coffee shop, we had everything kind of worked out, and we made sure that we had every single location in our heads, and we agreed on every single location so I could write it in the script as I was writing it down and time coding everything, which I thought helped out a lot and saved a lot of time.
So the filming of this was one day, wasn't even the whole day.
I think we started at 8 o'clock.
We came to my place and did the morning routine. So the getting out of bed, the putting on the slippers, my wife's slippers, very funny.
Very funny.
The toothbrush, toothpaste.
Yep.
And then
the coffee.
And the coffee.
And the door slam. That's not really a door slam anymore.
And the door close, yeah.
And then that day we hit locations on the way to my place because we knew that coming out of my building would be better than coming out of a grandissimo condo building.
Yeah, coming out the back door of your apartment.
Yeah, coming out the coming out the back door.
We had much more privacy. It was and the red brick was really nice too. What are you laughing at, you pervert?
Come out the back door.
Terrible.
I love it.
Terrible. Fun things about the filming though, like and the thought that was put into it was like when he was walking to the store, we walked with him, and we used poles.
Yeah, we tried to
wipes.
use swipes. So while we were filming, we locked in. Okay, we're going to do the wipes as we're walking with him past trees or past poles, or try and put something there instead.
But then when he's running back, we did static.
From across the street.
That he ran from one side to the other, which was kind of fun.
Yeah, that was hysterical because Mark, we went, okay, let's just do a few takes of you running. And I think it was a third run back. It was when he's just crossing the street.
Oh, yeah.
And we made him do it like 2 or 3 times. And then on his last take, he goes and there's no car. And the funniest thing is you can literally see the one-way sign saying that it only goes the opposite way. So the cars would be coming at us.
Towards us,
towards him. And he full on just does the whole...
The fake car coming at me thing.
Fake car coming at me. And Gaelan went, yep, I think we got it. That's what it is.
That's what it has to be.
Filming on the TTT was pretty hysterical because we got on the stop and the streetcar maybe went a block.
Yeah.
And we ended up getting all the shots.
All we needed, because we didn't have permission.
But we also were just kind of like, that's all we need. Like, we only had the one shot, 2 angles.
Yeah, front and back, that's all we needed.
And it was in the middle of rush hour, so the streetcar didn't go very fast. And we didn't go very far.
And we were able to get on, and then 1 block later, get off and walk back.
Yeah, I think we went 2 stops.
It was fantastic.
It was great.
And then the last scene that we were filming with the plane taking off, we actually got a few different takes of following him towards the bench and turning around. And we actually did a multiple edits because in the first edit, we had a plane taking off as he was walking around the bench, cut to him in the front, and then cut to him in the back again, and we had another plane taking off. Yeah. And I was like gilding Lily a little bit too much, so we took out the first plane taking off.
Yeah.
But getting those planes, like living next to Billy Bishop,
yeah,
what a beautiful...
It was fantastic. It was also great to have the play with having a bench right in front of it.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't have to set anything. We didn't have to do anything. The bench is already there. We just had to make sure that we were filming when nobody was around, which was great because it was cold and no one wanted to be walking.
Mark had his gloves on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, doing that, I think that was the longest, I think those were the longest takes because we tried 3 different angles and we couldn't, it was so loud outside with the wind, like it was so cold and windy. We couldn't hear the music. So I had the metronome going on my watch. Remember I had my watch metronome. Yeah. And so it was just doing this. And then I was going 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3,
screaming out, Mark, sit down, sit down.
And so we had to kind of go with that. And I just remembered, okay, this is how many bars to this and blah, blah, blah. And we just hoped that it was going to work.
But there's a lot of work went into making sure that we had 1 day of shooting. Yeah. And we had all of our shot lists that we needed. Yeah. And we planned that out to make sure we had it all because everything was also shot using natural light. Yeah. And it wasn't the middle of summer, so our days were shorter, so we had to make sure that we got everything, and we did. Yeah. It's good.
Yeah, it was a clean 8 to 5 with a lunch in between.
Mm-hmm. And that beautiful, cloudy softbox sky.
Beaut.
So after filming the whole thing and not getting clearance for the music, we scrapped the tune. And
Yeah.
Tristan wrote a new one.
Because we filmed this, what, 2 years ago now?
Yeah.
It was a while ago. Wow, 2 years. But with that, we did want to do it illegally with the music. So I decided I'm just going to write music. And so kind of basing it around the original song and same structure. And then I just ended up making up my own waltz and fiddling around with different VSTs and sound packages. Finally, Gaelan and I agreed on one sound.
What'd you call it? A honky-tonk piano?
Yeah. It's the Miss Mills honky tonk from Spitfire Audio. I love your stuff, Spitfire.
But it was interesting to do an entire project
Yeah.
to a song and then have to strip the song away and put in something new. But it did allow
Yeah.
you to alter some of the shots a little bit because we weren't so bound by the music anymore.
Yeah. So with the original track, I ended up structuring it and changing around some form a little bit and expanding it because we wanted it to be over a minute.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the song itself was like 30, 40 seconds. So I ended up adding a few extra things in the bridge and all of that. And with this one, I could literally watch what I already had and come up with my own version of it, my own form. And it worked out pretty good because I could elongate some shots. I didn't have to, in the first edit, I think we had like speed up sections because he had to get to a certain part or we had to hit a certain beat.
And we had like a longer cut to get the door closed at the end that really slowed stuff down that you were able to take out.
And so this, I was able to make the edit that I wanted to make and feel out a form that I wanted to make and feel out a pace that I wanted to make. And then I was able to also change the tempo of the song, which was great.
Yeah.
So I did it originally to, I think it was like 120 beats per minute. And then as I went, I either expanded parts or I slowed it down in certain sections and everything. And I was able to really nail exactly how we wanted the piece to be originally anyways. And it kind of worked out a little bit better.
It still looks great.
In my opinion.
It still looks great.
Can
you talk about the bird poo?
The bird poo. The bird poo is a fun concept.
Not practical.
Not practical at all. We did not hire a paid actor bird to poo on Mark.
A paid pooper?
The paid pooper. No. So what ended up happening was I went into After Effects and I built a mask. That's all it is a mask. So I basically took a white background, masked out a little droplet like it would be for like a teardrop. And I sized it down, went all the way to the top, and then tracked it to, I think we put a green X on the back
we
of
used green painter's tape.
Green painter's tape on the back of Mark's shoulder, so I was able to track the shot in After Effects. And then I literally just went from one top to the X, and that was it.
Over like 2 frames, 1 frame?
I think it's 2 frames, and then I put some motion blur on it, and as it hits Mark's shoulder, I just let it droop a little bit. And what the cool thing that was, because it's not practical, it's not an image, I'm not adding anything to something that's already existing, I'm creating it on my own. Right when it hits Mark's jacket, it kind of splurts out, and then we also have another mask, so I duplicated the mask and I changed the color so that there's a little brown, there's a little bit of yellow. So I was able to actually make it more realistic that way.
Horrendous.
And then because the shot was already tracked because of the mask of poop, Never thought I would say that. I was able to then add the logo to the frame with the tracking information that I've already done, which was great.
So the title, the Mondays,
The Mondays title
tracked along with the bird
tracked along in the same tracking formulation as the bird poop, and then Gaelan found the font that we wanted, and he sent it my way. I think he sent like 4 or 5 different.
Yeah, I don't even know
fonts.
why I liked the ones that I liked, but I found 3 or 4.
And he sent in. He's like, pick one of these. I'm happy with either with any one of these. And so I did it, and I put I was like, I don't want white. I want it to kind of blend into the sky, but also be popped out a little bit. And so I think I took the actual color of the sky that day, and then I have like a white or black background around the letters to pop it up. But that's all it took for the bird poop, which I thought was.
I thought it would be a lot more labor intensive for sure.
You always think that, though.
I do.
Whenever we're doing something, this is just a fun fact. Whenever we're creating something, Gaelan will come up with an idea, or I'll come up with an idea, and all of a sudden he'll be like, yeah, well, you know, that's gonna take a while. We should probably figure that out first. And then I'd go home and do it and send it to him, and he goes, oh,
Already?
okay.
Is that it? Oh, okay. Great.
It is the funniest thing to be like, oh, it doesn't. Oh, okay.
It feels like a lot of work because I don't know how to do it. And then someone else does it, and I'm like, oh, great.
Yeah,
Easy.
that's me with Lightroom.
Click, 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 click.
Hey.
Done.
All presets, baby. All presets for that, for photos.
Things you might notice. When Mark spits out the toothpaste and then stands up and he's wearing different clothes, I had pressed the focus button in between when he left, so it went from being focused on Mark to being focused on the photo in the background of the mirror when Mark comes back up. Just a cute little oopsies. And that was our behind the scenes on how we made Mondays. If you have any questions about filmmaking or about Mondays in particular, please comment down below and we'll get back to you.
And don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. And if you like this video, please don't forget to go to the original video of Mondays and like that video also.
Thanks, guys. See you on the next one.